stars, I will be there.
I'm Monica Charette, and this is Holding the Light.
As long as you love, I will whisper in your ear. Little whispers you will hear. As long as you love.
This episode is dedicated to the fathers who grieve quietly but love loudly. We're asking what it means to lose a child from a father's perspective. Chris Wilson is here to bravely share with us the heartbreak of losing his oldest son, Drew, in a tragic workplace accident. His love is evident, as is his resiliency to keep going in a world without his son in it. And he has important advice for newly bereaved dads. We're exploring the journey of a father's heart as Colby and I hold the light with Chris Wilson. Today we're talking about something that's often left unspoken, a father's grief after the loss of his child. So many dads carry their pain quietly, feeling the pressure to stay strong while their hearts are breaking. So Chris, we want to thank you for being here and for your courage and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been 4 years this past August since your oldest son Drew died in a terrible workplace incident in Maine. He was just 21, just starting to live his life. And we started communicating with each other very soon after his passing, about a month later, I think. And since then, I've had the privilege of being part of the grief journey with you. Do you remember how and why we connected? Because we had never met before then.
I believe we connected due to the similar situations with our children, and I didn't know where else to go, and I knew you have been through this, so I think I reached out to you due to that.
Yeah, I was really surprised to hear from you and really honored that you had trust in reaching out to another grieving parent, and I'm really glad that we met. Of course, I wish it was for different reasons and circumstances, but we know the bond between child loss families is really powerful and critical to the survival and healing. So let's start with, can you share with us a little bit about Drew, who he was and what made him special?
He was a really good kid. Even when he was younger, he was just a hard worker. He's one of those kids that you just you never had to ask him to do something. If I was out in the yard doing some work, he would just help me, no questions asked. I could call him when he was living with his friends after high school. I could call him and have him come over to help me with anything, and he would just drop whatever he was doing and come over. And he was just a hard worker. He just couldn't figure out what path he wanted to take in life yet, so he bounced around from job to job a little bit. He wasn't an A student, but he was a good student. Attempted to go to college after high school, just wasn't for him. He was very interested in carpentry. No, he was just a good kid. He loved to hang out with his friends. He was always happy, always joyful.
And he loved the Bruins, I heard.
Loved the Bruins. Was a really serious hockey fan. And he was just an all-around good kid. He had just an infectious smile that everybody loved. And he was just a great kid who's sorely missed.
Everything I've read about him and what I've learned about him through you and your wife is, he sounded like he was just an amazing young man.
Yeah, he made this family laugh. We used to laugh, and just some of the stuff he would say and some of the stuff he would do. We often talk about it a lot just to get a good chuckle out of it. So.
Well, in many ways, he's still with you.
Always, yeah.
Always. So you've been divorced from Drew's biological mother for some time, but you remarried to Amanda, and you have
Correct.
other children in your blended family. So tell us what the Wilson household looks like.
Now we have, of course, my wife Amanda. We have our oldest son Mason, who's from Amanda's previous, and we also have a son together named Reese. He actually turns 21 tomorrow. And then we have two young grandchildren that are with us all the time here too. So.
And that brings so much joy to you, I know.
We got our first grandchild right after Andrew passed, and I'll tell you, it really made a difference. I think with the healing. I mean, and nothing made it perfect, but just the comfort of a young child and baby is just, you know, keeps your mind off of things a little bit. It
Yeah,
helped, definitely helped. So
I can imagine. No pressure, Colby, but I've been saying for some time that when Colby's ready to have a family, I know it will help in my healing too, to give love to another child.
yeah.
So I know it's so difficult to relive August 5th of 2021, but for our listeners, can you share what happened to Drew and what you remember most about that day?
It was a it was rainy week in August, and he was putting in pools for a pool company, local pool company here. I'm not going to say the name, but he was putting in pools, and he enjoyed it. It was a kind of a paid under the table, got paid really well under the table type of thing, and he was only going to do it temporarily. He was saving up money to get another apartment, and so they didn't work all week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it was raining, and they said they were waiting on pool liners. Well, at the time, I was a firefighter, and I worked 48-hour shifts, so I saw Andrew 2 days before he passed, before I went to work. Amanda was lucky to see him that morning. She was getting ready to go out to work, and he came downstairs all in his work clothes, grabbed his lunch and his lunchbox, and she said, "Where are you going? It's raining." He's like, "I don't know. They told us we need to work today. We got some stuff in. We got to get stuff done." So she thought it was kind of odd. She's like, "You don't go to work in the rain." And he said, "Well, I know, but I got to go." So he went. She said, "I love you. Have a great day." He went to the job site. Evidently, the owner of the company was usually there. He wasn't there. The foreman was also not there. So basically, it was all it was Andrew and another young kid in the excavator. Andrew was in the pool hole. I still don't have the whole story of why he was even in the hole if they weren't working yet. From what I understand, the excavator wasn't even on, but the kid was sitting in it, and the ground around the excavator collapsed and buried Andrew, and the excavator landed on top of him. And from what I understand, he died instantly, which makes me feel a little tiny in the tiniest bit better that he did not suffer. Before the excavator accident, he was calling his boss a few times and he couldn't get through. And then Andrew had a phone on him in his pocket, and I guess the kid in the excavator had to dig the phone out of Andrew's pocket to call 911. So the 911 was on his phone. Amanda was at work in Auburn. I was home for the day. I had some other counseling I had to do, and we just bought a brand new washing machine at Lowe's. And I was bringing it home, and I just got home, and I was kind of doing stuff around the house. Amanda called me and said, a friend of ours, he was the deputy chief of the Auburn Fire Department, friend of ours that my wife and I know very well, and my wife grew up with. She said, "He's trying to get a hold of you." And I just thought it was kind of odd because we don't like talk on a regular basis. And then our neighbor, Michelle, called me and said, "Do you have his number? He's trying to get a hold of you." And I said, "No, I don't know why he would be getting a hold of me." Well, Amanda was at work, and she worked right near the Central Fire Station in Auburn. And she was outside taking a quick break, and the fire trucks and ambulances went by her, and she didn't even think anything of it. A friend of ours works at the hospital at CMMC, and she told our neighbor that there was a pool accident in Danville. They called Amanda, and Amanda said, "Yeah, Andrew's working in Danville today." So I tried calling him, no answer. His girlfriend was here living with us. She wasn't working that day, so she was calling him, no answer. Nobody would tell me anything over the phone. And so finally, our friend Matt, the Auburn deputy chief, he says, "Can you start going towards Auburn?" And I already knew what happened, but I didn't want to like accept it, you know. We're driving to Auburn. It's about 25 minutes. And he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm in Turner." And he said, "Pull into the Turner post office. So I pulled into the post office, and there was a game warden there. That game warden happened to be one of my wife's best friends growing up. I know him very well. He grabbed me, gave me a hug, and he just said, "I'm so sorry." He said there was an accident in Danville, and your son died because of that. And I lost it. And he kind of helped me. It was just kind of nice that a guy like that, he was just a sweet guy. And so I got back in the car, and of course my son was crying. My Andrew's girlfriend was in the back seat. She was crying. We just went straight to the funeral home because of the situation, and they didn't want Andrew to go to the hospital. They just wanted him to go right to the funeral home, and it was a little better for us. I don't know really a lot about what happened after that. I just remember calling people. Just can possibly be the worst day of my life, and nothing could ever change that. So
It is kind of a blur, isn't it?
parts of it are. I will tell you though, right? He died around 11:10 in the morning, and right about 11 o'clock. It's the weirdest thing. I got sick to my stomach. I was here at the house, and I got sick to my stomach, and I was in the garage, and I was sitting in a chair, and I was basically leaned over, and I felt nauseous, and then it went away, and I went like, "Wow, what is that?" And
Wow.
it was almost the exact same time as he passed,
Yeah.
and so I almost like felt it. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
And you remember that really well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I did. And we came home and just must have had 50 people at our house in my garage setting up tables, food, drinks, everything. It was nice, but it was just like I didn't know what to do, you
It's
know.
surreal when it's happening to you.
Yeah, guys in my work knew about it, so they were at my house before I even got home, sitting in my garage, telling them he's a couple of guys or closer guys that I was with. Um, but yeah, it was just a blur. Like nobody knew what to do, you know. Um, our other kids were helping. My oldest was like, "I'll go get Andrew's car at the job site. I'll go do this." They were all helping. Everybody was helping.
Mm,
It was Everybody was doing the best they could do. You know
right.
what I mean?
What was it like to support your other children? Because they were like, what, 17 and 21?
He was 17 at the time, my
Yeah.
youngest, and my oldest kind of was grieving in his own way with his girlfriend that lives with us. And my youngest one, we just wanted him with us all night, and I think he slept in bed with us. It was. I mean, I didn't even sleep the first night. Really, I might have slept an hour total. Um, but it was bad, just a bad night, and my children grieve in their own different way. Like they don't like to cry in front of people. They don't like to um, show emotion or at all. So I don't know. I tried to do what I could, um, but it was just hitting me so hard and hitting my wife so hard that it was just difficult.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to hide your emotions, right?
Right. No, it's just we were just numb. It's just like
Mm,
we were just waiting for him to come home, waiting for
mm.
him to open the door and be like, "Hey," and you know, it was awful. I mean, as you know, it's just tragic. So
Did you feel like you had to hide your grief or stay strong?
I did
You did.
for our household. I try to put on a stronger um, look on me, I guess you could say. I don't like to show emotion either, not in front of people, but I will. I mean, I go to a support grief group, and every time I tell Andrew's story, I cry. So I mean, it's kind of hard not to. I just didn't know
Mm,
what to do with the grief, and I think that's why I reached out to you. The company he worked with was just completely horrible. I will say that. They never even called and said, "I'm sorry." They never said any condolences. They never sent flowers. Not one person went to his funeral or wake. Not one person reached out to us. And when I went to go get Andrew's last paycheck, it was in a personal check form. and it was another employee, and all he said was he handed me the check, and he says, "Sorry about that." Like he bumped into you at the grocery store, and I was very angry. This was 3 days after, and I just got back in my car and left. Um, I don't know how somebody could just say sorry about that after,
Mm,
um, you know, it was just very, very, very disrespectful. I mean, I don't care who you are. You can at least say you're sorry,
I know, showing no compassion at all.
None. And every time I tell people that, they just don't believe it. They're just like, "Are you serious?"
So I'm curious to know what it was like for Amanda, who is Drew's stepmother by marriage, but who was Drew's mom in every way. I know she also carries the heavy pain of losing a child. What has it been like for her?
She raised Andrew since he was 2 years old, and I helped raise her son since he was two. They were both 2 months apart. It was hard for her, very hard for her. Even though Andrew wasn't biologically hers, she Andrew loved Amanda to pieces, and she really considered him, her son, and never, never thought anything different of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so she's had a tough go of this as well. It's not easy, especially when you've seen a kid grow up for 20 years, or 19 years, and then poof, they're gone. It's just it's difficult. We've been together a long time, so it's definitely hurts the same,
Well, I wondered if you shared your grief with each other.
all the time,
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
And do you have other dads that you share your grief with?
I have my father, and she has her father as well. They're both very supportive. Um, all of our parents are still with us, and they're still very supportive on both sides. So that helps a lot. And we have a good group of friends. Amanda has some coworkers, stuff like that. That really good support system. So that's definitely helped along the way.
And you said you attended the Compassionate Friends support group in your area. Tell us about that. Like, what is that like to go to it? I never went to a support group, and I'm kind of inspired by you now because you went and you said it's been helpful for you. And I really like to hear about what that's like for you.
Yeah, after Andrew passed, I was doing regular therapy, but it wasn't with like a grief counselor. And I strongly believe that grief counseling or grief support is different. I don't know, for a child, I think it's just different. And I think you could agree with me on that. My therapist at the time really couldn't do much more for me in the grief aspect. So I kind of did some research online. I looked around my area and I ended up seeing this group, and they meet the second Wednesday of every month in Auburn. Mostly moms, there's a couple dads sometimes, and other couples that come in, but they've all lost their children, whether to suicide or cancer. But it's all parents that have lost children. I mean, you can go to the group if you like. Say you lost a brother or a sister, you could go to that group, but it's made for grieving parents. And so I think it's great because it's just, I don't know. There's no judgment there. You basically go around the room, and every month things change in people's lives, so they get to share. You don't have to share, you can, but it's just great. They're just the sweetest people, and I enjoy going. It's kind of like my therapy now. So
I might have to make the trip and join you sometime.
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
We've heard your name come up a few times, so it was kind of nice. It's like, oh, I know her.
So, in your experience then, and with this support group, do you think that moms and dads grieve differently? Or maybe it's just men and women grieve differently?
I mean, I think parents grieve differently. I mean, it's just, they're your kids. We created them. We watched them grow up since they were babies. I just think it's just a whole different level of grief altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your kids aren't supposed to die before you, and it's not fair.
It's not the
So,
natural order of life.
absolutely not.
Yeah. What do you wish people better understood about child loss grief?
I think the hardest part for us is you have your support system around you when the incident happens, and we've talked to other parents as well, but it seems like as the years go on, people kind of stay away. I don't like to say that word, but they kind of um, they don't come around as much because I think they just don't know what to say or how to act or what to do. And it's like I deal with the grief all the time, but if I have people over and they're hanging out, I'm not going to sit there and just talk about Andrew. If he comes up in conversation, that's one thing. But I just wish people would be a little more, would come around more. But it's
Yeah.
hard, and other grieving parents have told me the same. So
So, as you know, over time, it's only been 4 years, and I've said to you before that I think your grief is still very new and very fresh. Um, and it can shift, your grief will shift a lot over time. I just wondered if your understanding of grief has changed over the last 4 years, and maybe what surprised you about grief that you didn't expect.
I don't know, just trying to wrap your head around it and how to deal with it day to day. I've had people that know of our situation, and they're like, I don't even know how you get out of bed every day, you know. Um, and they're like, I don't even know how you go to work. I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you do that. And my answer is just life has to go on. You know what I mean? Just because his life didn't go on, other lives have to go on, and people depend on me. So I try to, um, I try to go that way. So,
Well, you have other children in your
and I
life
have other
too.
children, yeah, and they need support and they need, guidance as well. So, uh, kind of do the best you can while you're still healing. It's not easy. Sometimes I'll just be driving home from work and just cry for no reason. You know, it's just one of those things. I don't know. I think the hardest part is when people ask you how many kids you have. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you have that. People that don't know you, like if you go, we went to Florida, we've gone to Maryland to see family and stuff, and people are like, "Oh, how many kids you have?" I
Mm-hmm.
and I found the best answer for me, which helps me. Amanda gets asked that all the time. She's a hairdresser. People sit in her chair. How many kids do you have? All I say is I have three, and one's in heaven. And then basically, most people don't even say anything after that. They just kind of change the subject. But when asked, I think that's the hardest thing, and that's been the hardest thing because then you can't say two when I really have three, but one's in heaven. That's like you saying you only have one. I mean, some people do, some people don't, but I think that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, that is really difficult. That's changed for me over the years. In the beginning, I didn't want to talk about it because I just couldn't hold back a flood
Mm,
of tears. But as time went on, I've always said I have two children, by the way. I've never said I have one. But as time's gone on, I've actually taken that opportunity when someone's asked me, and you've just opened up a door. You've allowed me to talk about both of my children, and now you're going to hear about them.
right?
So
Yeah.
I have two
Yeah.
children, and let me tell you all about Colby, my amazing son, and my daughter, who is equally amazing and still with me.
Right. No, that's the best thing I think is just educating other people. But I mean, I can imagine as a parent, asking somebody else not knowing their situation and be like, how many kids do you have? I Since Andrew has passed, I have never asked a parent that. I just
Really?
don't. Yeah, isn't it? It's really weird. Like it would be
Mm,
a normal conversation if I met new people, but not anymore. It's probably because I don't want to be asked. You know what I mean?
maybe, but I feel like you'd have so much compassion to share with them.
I would. I try to be.
Are there things or places that make you feel close to Joe?
Um,
Like, have you had moments when you're like, I feel his presence? Or you see something that always reminds you of him?
he liked to hang out in our garage a lot, just hang out. All his buddies used to come over. So like when we're down there hanging out, watching football or something, it's nice that he's always around there. Um, if we cook a certain meal or certain people are over, we'll joke and laugh and bring up some stuff. And it seems like he's always around. He's always with us. I mean, I don't think there's a day that goes by that we don't bring him up in some kind of fashion. That's my biggest fear is just I just don't want him to be forgotten, you know.
Yes,
So
it's really important that people continue to say your child's name.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of learned in my own grief journey that even though Cass isn't here, it doesn't mean I don't have a relationship with her anymore. Do you feel the same? Or do you think maybe it's too soon to process that?
I still talk to Andrew. I can talk to him, and other people can too. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like he's around. We always see little things that just make Andrew pop into your head. A dragonfly, a butterfly, at the right moment, the right time, a cardinal, or something like that. It's just he's around. You just feel it, and I'd be looking for something in my toolbox. I can't find it, and I'd be like, you know what? I bet you Andrew had one in his. I'll go look in it, and there it is, the
Yeah.
thing I was looking for. And
Hmm.
then, thanks, buddy. It's just we feel him a lot here at the house.
Yeah. I'm glad that
So
there are things that bring a smile to your face now and not the tear first, because that's what
yeah,
happens so much in the beginning. So painful. What do you think has helped you find purpose again? Even the small moments of peace. What makes you get up every day and face the world that people can't believe you're doing?
just gotta go keep going. I don't really have a straightforward answer for that, but you just have to keep going, you know, keep on, keeping on. I guess. I think being active, being busy, I think helps a lot with grief, because you're not really set your mind on it all at one time. Um, so that's helped me just keep going, stay active, stay busy. Um, we try to go on little trips here and there, you know, just to take your mind off of it,
Hmm.
and I think that helps a lot. So
Yeah, it sounds like you're living your life, but you've also made room for the grief in your life too. You sounds like you spend time working on that too.
absolutely, yes, yeah.
And what advice would you have? What would you say to another father who maybe had just lost a child? Like, what advice would you give to that person as they're beginning their grief journey?
I guess I would just try to like do what I do and just make sure your child's not forgotten. Um, Try to cherish him. I have a lot of things around me that help me know that Andrew's with me all the time. Like I have a tattoo, I have a necklace, I have different things, and that's what helped me. I don't know, being open, being taking any advice you can get from anybody is definitely the key. I just learned to keep going because at the moment when Andrew passed, I thought life was over. You know what I mean? I really did. Like I didn't know what to do. It's like you hit a brick wall because you've never in your life thought you would ever experience something like that. And so I would just say, as a father, just keep going, stay strong for your other children.
I recently talked to a mother who lost her son 3 weeks ago. She reached out to
Oof.
me. Yeah, see, you remember how deep that grief is. And she asked me, did you want to die with Cassidy? That was such a hard question to hear a newly grieving mother ask. And I was very honest and said, yes, I did. I did. And so did my husband. And
Yep.
then we look over at Colby and we say, we can't do that.
Yep.
Not among the choices that we have. So we talk about how we get up every morning and get out of bed. I think some of the strongest people on the planet are grieving parents.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
And the kids that support them are also rock stars in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so
How are your children doing?
they're good. They don't really bring up Drew very much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just too painful for them. I mean, like I said, we'll talk about stories and laugh. Like my youngest son Reese, he'll bring up something Andrew did, just that was funny, and we would just laugh about it, or some kind of movie quote he would say, or something like that. He was just trying to he was always trying to make people laugh. So, and
Yeah.
he had an infectious laugh and an infectious smile. So we talk about that all the time. So
So part of your mission is keeping his memory alive with your other children.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
And your
What we
grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah. What we do too, and also makes me feel comfortable is all of his friends. He had a group of like I'm going to say 8 guys, 8 friends. They grew up with him since he was in 2nd grade. They always are contacting us, coming over, hanging out. They'll just stop by. Hey, mom and dad. They'll come in. And I just think it's great because when they're around, I feel connected to Andrew even more. So we try to hang out with these kids a lot, and they are just a good group of boys, and they know what we're going through. And these kids, they slept in Andrew's bed for 2 weeks after they slept on the floor in his room. They all slept over for like 2 weeks after he passed because they didn't want us to be by ourselves.
That's amazing.
These kids are great kids, and we love them like they're our own.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely helps. I mean, that helps big time. I mean, I can't even explain how much that helps for us. So I'm glad we have that.
I love that for you. We had the same thing and still do 11 years later.
You still talk to her friends? Yeah.
Oh, they're still such a big part of our life. Yeah, they still are.
Yeah.
It gets complicated because, when they get married and have their own children, it's really difficult for us.
Yeah.
Knowing Cassidy is not going to have all those things. But we are so happy for them. They've become part of our hearts too.
Yeah.
I've never asked a guest this, but I was thinking about it the other day, what I wanted to ask you. And I hope you don't mind me asking this, but I wanted to know if Drew could see and talk to you right now, what do you think he'd say to you?
I guess he would say, I think you're doing good. I think you're doing good for what you're going through. And I just think he would just say, keep going, and I think he was just that type. So yeah, if I could talk to him, I think that's what he would say.
Yeah.
I think he would say, good job, Dad. Keep going. Good job, Mom. Keep going,
I think he would too.
It hasn't been easy.
No, I know it hasn't been easy. And it doesn't end here. And it never ends.
Right.
It's a lifetime of grief. At the end of our podcast, Chris, we want to give you the opportunity to share in your own words how you would want the world to remember your son, Drew.
He was just a great kid, and just the memories we have of him is it fulfills our life right now without him here. And every year on his we call it Angelversary or Angel, the day of his passing, we try to do something. We get it together with his friends. We try to do a little thing for him every year, and that's helped. And so I think I'm answering this question correctly, but
there's no right answer.
But just talking about him, bringing him up, it's that's like my biggest mission, is just to keep him actively in our thoughts all the time. So
I don't think he'll ever be forgotten.
No, not here.
Well, I know your words will reach other parents and especially other dads who are walking the same road, and remind them that they too are not alone. Your sunlight just continues through you. I see Drew in you, and thank you for your honesty and the love you share for him. It's an honor to say Drew's name with you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
As long as you love.
Thank you so much for listening. If you found this podcast helpful, please share our link with others and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. I'm Monica Charette, reminding you that you are never alone in your grief. Until next time, we'll be right here with you, holding the light.
As long